Okay, so this was the last section of the festival, the short films. We've got some of the most nominated films in this section, so it's wonderful to have some of the filmmakers with us. Would you like to introduce yourselves and your role in the films that we've just seen, please? Can we start with this end?
Yeah, my name is Yoram Ever-Hadani. I'm director and writer and producer, co-producer of Moondrops.
Hello, I'm Max Roach. I'm the co-director of Redwood and also the director of Short Perfection.
My name is Dan Keeble. I directed Off the Hook and also was a DP for that and produced it as well.
So wonderful, thank you so much for joining us. I mentioned earlier some of the most nominated films, so in total, I've done some quick maths, we have 11 nominations between the 4 films that are on the stage represented, so wonderful, really, really great films. So, first question, this is a bit of a loaded question, starting with yourself. Where have you come from today? Actually, can we start at the far end?
You can. I come from Southend-on-Sea in Essex.
I come from Romford, so like 2 minutes away. One if you're running.
Let's have a round of applause for Romford, by the way. And Yoram, where have you come from today?
Landed at 5 o'clock at 9 o'clock from Tel Aviv.
So all the way from Israel, everyone. Amazing stuff.
We also have the musician who composed the music back sitting there, Tomer Biran.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming and for bringing your films to the festival. So I'm going to ask the next question. How has your film done in other festivals? Yoram, do you want to begin?
We've done quite well. We've been, as a matter of fact, this is the end of our tour. We have a little more. We have like around 200 festivals and 90 awards by now, all around the world. It was just a crazy journey. But it was really, really fun and surprising and fulfilling.
Wonderful. Max?
It's about 500 festivals. No, I'm joking. It was, I've done a few other little ones. So some in London. Into Film Festival was pretty cool. And I won in Sweden the other day, but I didn't go to that obviously. I'm studying, so I can't really afford flights to Sweden at the moment. But a few others. It's been a really fun journey, and the tour will probably never stop because student films and that.
Big in Sweden, love that.
Second, next to ABBA.
Just a couple of festivals for this film for us. Horror on Sea in Southend and a few others, but we made it around about the end of 2019, just before COVID and the pandemic. So for us, a lot of the festivals were postponed or cancelled, and since that our film was made, we've made like 4 or 5 short films since. So there's only so much financially we could really push it going forward. So we're just really happy that it was shown finally here. So that's really great to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, I mean, do you mind seeing your own things back? Do you enjoy it or not? Do you want to answer first, Daniel?
I enjoy it, absolutely. It's always good to see it with other people and see them reacting to it the way you wanted them to react. So, yeah, it's fantastic for small indie filmmakers to see their work on screens like this.
Oh, no, I hate it. No, it's great. It's lovely being around, a lot of people who really helped to make the film, like in the back corner over there, including my parents. Just amazing people. It's a fun experience, but God, I hate watching all the mistakes I made. And then hearing yourself back, if you're in it with your little cameo, it's awful. But at the end of the day, I think it's just fun to be around other people who love films, and I think it's more of an experience than watching what's on the screen. And it's amazing meeting other amazing people. I love both their films, and it's crazy that I'm sitting next to them, and coming where all these miles when I've literally just walked down the road.
It still moves me to see the film on big screen, good sound, and it's great cinema here. And it's amazing how many times it still moves you. See that you find new things you haven't seen in like I've seen it like, I don't know, hundreds of times. You know, it's crazy. It's really, I really enjoyed it this time. I haven't seen it for a while because of the COVID.
I'll start with you this next question, Yoram. Where did you first come up with the idea of making this film?
I come from commercial directing. I'm a commercial director. I do a lot of car commercials and a lot of comedy and things. And as time passes by, I wanted to do something that was really cinematic. So I was looking for some idea, and then we came to this idea of doing a non-dialogue film. And the idea came from some children's stories. A children's story about a girl who wants the moon. And I found that doing a non-dialogue film made you much more exact, and you have to be really, really accurate to what you're doing along the way. And then all the other details should be really, really in line with what you want to do, including the amazing music Tomer wrote, and we recorded it. Tomer went to Prague. So it was like the Philharmonic of Prague, the real Philharmonic Orchestra. It was really crazy. So every detail had to combine together really, really nicely. So,
great stuff, Max. Obviously 2 films. You can talk about either or both.
Both pretty crazy stories. Not anything to do with Prague or these crazy journey. I feel. So I was at college with Joe and Archie, who were sitting over there, and actually one of our teachers, Sean, is actually in the audience, a big influence on both of them. So one of them, Short Perfection, was actually supposed to be an advert for a counselling service. That was near the end of my time at my BTEC at college. And then obviously COVID and whatever, I'm not going to go into it, but it's this little virus thing that happened. And COVID hit, and they kind of called it off, and we thought, well, this footage looks kind of cool. Let's put a really sinister monologue over the top of it, and it kind of worked. I don't know, it was pretty crazy. And then Redwood was just a crazy script that myself and Joe wrote, and I can go on for days about Redwood, like the stories of it, having to go in and out of the house. It took over like a year to do reshoots, re-stories, rewriting, but both Archie and Joe have been there for the whole journey. I did it co-directed with Joe, and I feel like being at uni, having to Zoom call Neuron every week to get through it was pretty hard. Connections are awful in York, and then obviously having the wonderful Sean over there, my teacher, really being a fantastic tutor, and listening to all these crazy ideas and going, yeah, sick, make it, and we did, and I'm very happy it's here, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like I came here when I was like 5, and like watching movies here and seeing one of my films on the screen is a pretty awesome experience.
2 of your films.
Yeah.
2 of your films, not just 1, 2. And you were here last year as well, which was great.
Yeah.
Daniel?
Yeah, Off the Hook was written by Samantha, who stars in the film. She wrote it, I think it was an idea her husband dreamt it up, and she wanted to make it, and so that's when she approached me to help make it and to direct it. And it was the first film that we've done together, so we wanted to do something that's quite simple to shoot, something easy, 2 nights in her house, keep it simple, with crew that we didn't know, and I think we pulled it off. We're quite happy with how it ended up.
Yeah, absolutely. Spencer, was there any, do you want to go to audience questions? Put your hand up.
Has anybody got any questions from the audience, please? I've just got the mic down, so I don't know how to come to that. I'm a bit of run. Hang on. I'm so disorganised now. So tired, I feel like I'm drunk. Hello.
Hi, congratulations on the film to you all. I've got a question for the director on Off the Hook. Who was the blood on the door? What was that? Who had been killed? There was blood on the door. It was a nice kind of, it was nicely done shot, but I was going, well, who else is in the house?
Yeah, so all these little subtle things that I didn't want to make too obvious. So, I mean, you might have to watch it again, but when she has a bath, there's a sound effect of a cat being killed. So this guy enters her house, kills her cat, puts it in the cupboard, as you do, and she comes down, she doesn't have a clue what's going on, and that's just a dead cat.
not in
Any
favour
other
of death
questions?
tax.
There's someone up front.
At the front, yeah.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way. My legs aren't working.
I have a question for Yoram. I've noticed that you've shot a lot of the film in Belgrade, Serbia,
Right.
which is my city.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was just wondering, how did you like there, and how did you come up with the idea to shoot there in the first place?
I love Serbia, and I love the people of Serbia. So, we wanted to create a bit of a communist look, and we were looking for these buildings, and there were, in fact, we were Kiev and Ukraine and Belgrade were the two places we considered, and at the end it was about budget, but they had these blocks of buildings that no one had, which were like crazy. The drone is going above the buildings and it doesn't end. I guess you know this neighborhood.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
New Belgrade.
Yeah, so I loved it.
Can I ask Max and Daniel about your locations actually? Max?
Yeah, both very, very local. The house in Redwood is no longer there. It's an old abandoned nunnery, and it was terrifying to film in. It was awful, but I loved it. We broke the floor. Great experience, but it's no longer there. Unfortunately, it's getting repurposed into buildings, which is cool. And then in Short Perfection was the last day in college, in the college studio. So it's pretty hard to light. And the last day of college before COVID. And then the day after, the world changed. Yeah.
Yeah, our film was just filmed at Samantha's home in Leigh-on-Sea. Just there's no budget to go anywhere else other than just film what you know and where you know, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's all independent films, so you have to make the most of what you can. Let's talk about greatest challenge. Do you want to start, Daniel? What was the greatest challenge making this film?
For that film, the greatest challenge for me personally was being the director and the director of photography, taking on the two roles, having to think creatively and work with the actors as well as sort the lights and compose your shots, etc. So that was the greatest challenge. Other than that, it's quite a simple shoot, really.
And Max?
God, so many challenges. I can go on for days, but probably just, I don't know, editing in time for tea. You know, it's hard. You know, fish and chips smells good, and I'm really hungry. So no, it's mainly just staying together as a team, working with your friends, having fun. Not really a challenge, but just something that if you approach it like light-hearted. And you see it all as a joke and have fun with it, then realistically the film's probably end up alright, and I'm happy with that.
You, Yoram?
I mentioned before the trying to do the film with no dialogues, which made everything. If something doesn't mean anything, if the shot doesn't mean something, it goes away. It doesn't work. We thought that was one thing, and the other thing was we shot it in 4 days, which was really hectic. We didn't have the budget, although it looks like a huge budget, but it was a fight that every shot we just shoot like 1-2 takes and running on to fit it within the. Yeah, it was 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah. They were really accurate. We worked very hard on the pre-production. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah. So,
Was there any more audience questions? I've got 1 or 2 more. But don't be shy.
No,
You got a question?
everyone's shy and very tired.
I've got a question. So in Moondrop, with the bit outside the building, how did you do that? With
What?
the Moondrops building with the big sign? Was that CGI or was that?
no, that's a building.
That's really?
We built the fucking thing.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's so good.
By the way, we shot in a bottle factory, a beer factory, which is like the biggest beer factory in Belgrade, and it was about to be ruined. I think now doesn't exist. I think it's like the end of a lot of the parts of the machine were taken from the factory. It was a really old factory, and it was working while we were shooting. It gave us a line to work there. Yeah.
Oh, what a location.
I was going to say, let's start with Daniel. What piece of advice would you give to a budding filmmaker?
Just say yes to everything if you're trying to learn to be a filmmaker. If you need to jump on a crew, another film set, if they need someone just to hold a boom mic, or if you want to learn how to use a clapperboard or to edit, just do it as much as you can to learn and build up your work and to meet and make connections with other filmmakers that way.
You, Max?
I don't know. I'm still kind of getting there, but I'd say now's the time to pick up a camera and make something. You know, there's no one stopping you. You know, there's like seriously like. Obviously, going in industry, there's so many restrictions. You're getting paid for it. You have to make something look quite nice. But realistically, if you have a camera or your phone or any type of way to get down anything, and you have a crazy idea, just go out and make it. You know, no one's going to judge you or get annoyed unless you make something that's godly offensive or awful. But I would hope that you wouldn't want to make a film like that. But if you have a crazy idea that you really want to do, go do it. Now's the time. Take every day as it goes.
I'm with Max, and I think the biggest thing is, like, as a director, you have to hold to your vision. The thing is, you have to, whatever happens, you have to remember the upper vision, and not there every day, and all the problems. Just think about the vision, and then things will add up to something. Of course, you need to have the budget, you have to have everything, but you have to. Your job is to hold the vision, and then other things, hopefully, will fit in their place.
Perfect way to end, I think. Thank you so much for bringing your films. Congratulations on all the nominations, and we're going to see who might be walking away with some prizes.
Thanks so much.
Give it a round of applause again.